Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video going to be talking a little bit about all the news going on with Silicon Valley Bank and going to primarily focus on what to look for, right? Things that we can take advantage of, what data points we're looking at, and the reason why, right? Why it's relevant to us from the eyes of a miner, right? So if that sounds interesting, guys, stay tuned, all right? So first, not going to go too much into detail. I'm sure you guys are very, very well aware of what's going on. There's been a ton of coverage on it. A lot of good videos, a lot of good opinions and insights on it. So I'm not going to go too much into it. Just going to briefly go over the latest, right? So there was an interview today with Janet Yellen. So I'll just read the headline. Silicon Valley Bank bailout ruled out by Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, right? So as of now, they're saying they're not, but as we've seen in the past, this can change within a snap, right? This is the current information, but we realistically won't find out more until as early as tonight, most likely not until tomorrow. Tomorrow, possibly Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. Ideally, I'm sure they're going to want to try to get something out tonight. Otherwise, there's going to be more possible bank runs tomorrow morning. A lot of people will be lining up at their bank. There's reports of other banks already having issues. I'm not going to speculate too much because a lot of it's just rumors, right? I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow morning what's going on there. One big thing we do want to take note of, right, aside from the obvious, are the companies, so I kind of hate the word, but the contagion, right? What other companies are going to get affected by this? Not just in the traditional market, but for us specifically in the crypto market, as there have been quite a few projects who have had money tied up in SVB, right? So there's been quite a few who have came out and said, gave roundabouts as to what the extent of it, but there's also a lot of silence, right? So that's the scary part, is we're not going to know for at least until this thing gets resolved. Maybe by the end of the week we'll start hearing more, but it'll be similar to like what happened with FTX and Three Arrows Capital and all those. We don't find out until after who was affected and how they were affected, how much, to what extent, right? So possibility that it's over, maybe, but probably not, right? So we're going to go over some of the few that have said something. Again, what's more concerning are the ones who haven't said anything yet, right? But again, also, they're going to wait for more resolution. Also, doesn't really make sense for them to release a press release right now, and then a whole different world happens tomorrow morning, right? They end up bailing them out, or we don't know what's going to happen. So they're going to also wait for that kind of resolution. So let's go for we do know. The one that came out first was, again, they were already hit hard, was BlockFi. So it turns out they had $227 million in funds held up there, right? So I'm going to go through this real quick. The other big one we all know about is Circle. They had about 8% of the reserves tied up in there, so about $3 billion. So that was the reason for the DPEG. Went down to like 88 cents. It's currently at like 97 cents. They said they're going to cover it. They're very well funded, very well backed. I don't see it being an issue. But again, we never know. We'll find out more in the coming days, specifically tomorrow. So this is the one that's kind of concerning. It's Pantera, right? Crypto-focused VC firm Pantera may have an unknown amount of exposure to SVB's collapse. As recently as last month, the firm counted the failed bank among just 3 custodians of its private funds, right? So Pantera counts among the largest crypto-focused VC firms in the world. Last year alone, it raised $1.3 billion for a fund exclusively focused on blockchain-based projects. Okay, so far they haven't really said anything. So these are the types of things we want to look for, because again, they're going to have exposure to a lot of projects, right? So we're going to have to see what happens there. Avalanche is another one. Luckily, it wasn't too bad. They had a little over 1.6 million in exposure to Silicon Valley Bank. Yuga Labs of Bored Ape Yacht Club didn't release a figure, but the company has super limited exposure to the failed bank. But they haven't said an exact amount. Proof is another like NFT related project. So Proof holds cash at SVB. However, we've thankfully diversified our assets across ETH, stablecoins, as well as fiat. The company tweeted Friday, so it doesn't look like much there. Nova Labs, which is Helium, right? So Nova Labs has some money stuck in SVB, but the vast majority is in other institutions Nova Labs CEO and Helium co-founder Amir Halim said, right? So these are the good ones because these are the ones that did not have any exposure, right? So Paxos, Crypto.com, Binance, Kraken, Dapper Labs, Tether, Solana, Polygon. This is an interesting one. So on Saturday night, Ripple's, which is XRP, CTO David Schwartz said the crypto payments company will issue a statement shortly about how its finances have been impacted by the collapse of SVB. As of this writing, Ripple has not released an official statement, and I double-checked their Twitter. As far as I know, they still haven't released anything, so this one's a little bit concerning because if it was something limited like the others, I'm sure they would have mentioned it there, but the fact that they are going to issue a real, probably like a PR type statement, not looking too good there. Although they are well funded, I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue, so wouldn't take it for much more than what it's worth there. But again, these are the ones who have said something. Again, there's a ton of others who may be affected. We don't know. Might this be it? Yes. Might it not? We don't know. Again, we're not going to find out until, number one, we get more of a resolution, either tonight or tomorrow, possibly a week after. And then once they go through everything, right, then we'll see those PR statements. I mean, we've been through this before, right? We did this with 3AC, FTX. So we're going to wait to see, right? Realistically, it might be a couple of weeks till we really see the full extent of everything. And this is also factoring in if that no other bank runs happen, right? Again, like we kind of alluded to earlier, there is a possibility for more come tomorrow. So again, tomorrow, Tuesday, very important days, very volatile days, right? So this is one of the things that we want to take note of because we want to look for cheap prices. So I want to start this off with none of this is financial advice. These are just things that I'm looking at and what I'm paying attention to and why, in a way, this is kind of exciting, right? Again, sucks to anybody affected by this, but I'm looking for cheap prices, right? I'm looking for good entry points. So that's why I'm paying very, very close attention to this. So this is the current market, which BTC and ETH have been holding up very well. They held up well, even though a lot of the other alts dropped. Ultimately, they've been going up a little bit. More so than just yesterday, a lot of the alts are picking up. A lot of the alts are already up, anywhere from 5 to 10%, right? So we look at BTC, it's at 21.4. It was just under 20,000 a couple days ago. Same story with ETH. It was under 1,400. It was like 1388, 1390, something like that. Currently at 1553. USDC is almost back at its peg. It's now at 97 cents, right? So good sign there. So one thing we do want to take note of is there's a lot of good data here, right? We're in a bear market, but we've had this pump since January, and now we had this black swan, right? We had this event where now things cratered. So now the reason we want to pay attention is that we want to look at what things dumped hard and what things are already pumping and coming back. Again, these are good insights, good trends to be following this coming year, right? Or in the future. So if we break it down by the 24-hour what's gone up, I know a lot of you guys are into render. Not really my thing, but whatever projects you're into. I'm not going to really shill certain projects. I'm going to talk about which ones I'm into, but realistically, you want to pay attention to whatever you're interested in and whatever you're invested in, right? So like me personally, I did buy a little bit yesterday. I bought a little more Phantom. Finally bought a little bit of Optimism and Mina. Those were my two new ones that I've been wanting to get into. Finally found a good entry point. So got in there, and all three of those are up like 10% plus, right? So these are things we want to pay attention to, right? Which things had a hard time recovering and which things pumped like are coming back already, right? Does this mean they're going to continue up? No. Can tomorrow a lot of news comes out and everything dumps another 20%? Very possible, right? So again, this is why I DCA, not recommending you to do what you want, but I DCA it a little bit. Realistically, waiting for more volatility, possibly a bigger dump, maybe not. Again, just bought a little bit. Finally bought some entry points there. But again, whatever you're into, whatever you're looking at, look at these trends. Look at which things are still down, right? Also take note of those. Which ones are struggling to come back up? Which ones went down and which ones didn't? Right? A good example, one that held up very well throughout all of this is freaking Caspa, right? They just had their recent all-time high. They were at 0.0146, so right under that penny and a half. They did dip down though. They went right under that penny mark, right? But went right back up. So they went under, went right back up, and they're currently at 0.116, right? So overall, it's holding up well. So again, data points, data points. We want to look at what happens with these dumps, how low they go. It's a lot of valuable information, right? Gives you future like entry points, future DCA points, right? Another thing you really want to pay attention to is, again, which ones are having trouble, right? Good example of this would be like Kadena. Okay, you want to really look at, right now is a good time to look at like the 3-month chart, because 3 months ago, back in, December, we had some nice lows at that point. Kadena pretty much nailed those lows. We pretty much went all the way back down. Okay, they haven't been pumping as hard as some of the others, and they went back down pretty much down to their lows. They went down to 88 cents. Okay, these December lows, that was about the range. Okay, tiny bit lower, at 86 cents, but pretty darn close. So if it's one you're long-term on, if one you're looking at, these are the types of things you want to look at. Okay, and also whether or not you want to continue adding to your bags, right? On the same note, kind of also not the best sign that it's back at those lows, right? Especially comparing it to its mining brother right now with Nervos. Let's look at their 90-day chart. Pretty different story, right? We go back to their lows back around Christmas. It was 0.0021, and it's currently at 0.0037. So it's like a 50% jump still, right? And this is considering it went down all that amount, right? We're at 0.0064 just a few days ago, right? So it is something to take note of. Again, data points. We want to pay attention to these trends and what's going on, right? Which ones are pumping, which ones are having trouble. That way you can, balance your portfolio however you feel you need to, right? Or if you're considering getting some of these miners, this is valuable data, right? These are things you want to look at. Another big thing I'm keeping my eye on are proof of work coins and what's profitable. So I know a lot of people got excited with this like Conflux pump recently and everybody jumped in. Oh, I'm going to start mining. I'm kind of on the opposite boat. So like for me, it's not very appealing to jump into an extreme pump like that because number one, it's going to retrace. Number two, you might get screwed over a little bit, right? Because if you mine into it, unless you're selling like immediately after, like let's say you mined it for a week, it remained at that point, you decided to change it to something else, that works, right? But for those of you guys who mine Conflux and still held on to it, you're kind of at a loss, right? And it gets tricky with the mining at a loss thing. I get it, not going to harp on that. But for me personally, what I look for and what I'm continuing to look for is things that are profitable on a dump, okay? Right now, we just had a very nice dump, so I want to see what's profitable right now and how profitable it is, okay? Because at this point, if it's profitable at this low, then it's only going to continue to be profitable, right? At that point, again, when I'm mining, I want it to be profitable, even if it's only a nickel, even if it's only 10 cents a GPU. I'm fine with that as long as it's not going to continue lower. The reason I wasn't doing it before is because chances are things were possibly going to go lower, right? But those of you guys who jumped in, it's been paying off, right? There's been profitable coins the past 3-4 months between Nexa, Caspa, now Dynex. Been a lot of profitable coins as long as you're jumping around, right? But again, what I'm looking for, what I'm waiting for is consistent profitability. I don't want to do this thing where I'm turning off my rigs and I'm turning them on and this day it's profitable, this day it's not. I don't want to do that. I'm waiting for consistent profitability, even if it's just minor, even if it's just 10 cents a day, 5 cents a day. I'm comfortable, like right now, I would be way more comfortable turning everything on because we're at a low, we're at a pretty big dip, and there's a lot of things that are still profitable, right? This is for a 3070 at a 10-cent kilowatt hour. We have Dynex, Ergo and Caspa, Nexa, Vertcoin, Alephium. All these things are currently profitable on a dump. Okay, so if we're profitable on a dump, we're only going to go up, right? Not 100%. Now, this is financial advice. Everything can dump another 50% tomorrow. But for me, that gives me more confidence to finally turn things on. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. Again, these are very, very good data points, right? These are things we want to look at, trends we want to look at, things we want to see, right? Me personally, might be turning on pretty soon. I'm actually going to start putting together another rig. Everything got disassembled because everything got changed in the garage, but now looking at these, I'm actually looking at something else. I'll make a video about it in a day or so. But just wanted to talk about different things to look at, right? I know there's a lot of news going on, a lot of FUD going on, and it's super interesting. I know I've been like consuming all the freaking content. I've literally watched, as I've been doing stuff in the garage, I've been listening to it over and over pretty much all day. So super fascinating. But just wanted to give you like things to look at, data points, things to take advantage of, what you should be looking at, what you should be looking for, and things to just think about, right? Again, these are things you want to have going through your head as you're mining, especially if you're want to mine profitably, right? So again, just wanted to give you something to think about. Thank you for watching, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, especially if you're mining or if you bought anything. If you bought the dip, let me know what you got. So again, thank you for watching, guys, and I am out.